What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be learning about creating UV layouts in Maya. Now, what are the UV layouts? UV layouts are the projection of 2D space onto 3D space. Um, an example of that would be if we look at this cube right here. You see that this is a 3D space and it has 6 faces. This cube that has 6 faces, if I go to the UV texture editor, has a 2D representation of this. If I grab the face here, that face is here represented here in this 2D space, the U and the V. This is the side, this is the left side, this is the top, this is up here, and this below one is all the way up there. Alright, so it's projecting this 2D layout onto 3D space. Another good way to explain it is if we think of it in terms of something like a t-shirt. You see here you have a t-shirt, and then usually we put the t-shirt on, and we're not flat, we're 3D people, and our t-shirt might have sleeves and it has seams. But to be able to put a t-shirt together, we need to cut out the pieces of cloth and sew them together, so like with a sewing pattern. Another good analogy would be something like a paper toy, where you take a 2D image on a flat piece of paper and you cut them up, fold them, and you can create 3D space. So that's kind of what's happening here in 3D. Now, the difference is this is quite simple. Sometimes UV layouts can be quite complicated, like the face of this monkey has to be laid out a little bit more complicated, or this little elf creature, you can see the face here is laid out in 2D space, the body is laid out in 2D space, and you can see here you're going to have seams just like that t-shirt example or the shirt example. You're going to have sleeves, but in this case you're going to have feet, you're going to have hands, and you're even going to have the little antenna ear thingies. You can see this is how 2D textures will be represented on a 3D space. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Particularly, we're going to be looking at like a Minion character, which is a little different than this. I downloaded this a while ago, but a paper toy Minion. So I have this cube right here, and I have my UV texture editor right here. Now, I'm going to try to put this texture onto this box right here. Now, I have to use another thing, which is called the hypershade. The hypershade is the place where I keep a library of my materials. So if you wanted to create something that was made out of stone, out of iron, out of metal, out of plastic, out of paper, whatever it is, you're going to use different materials. So in this case, I'm going to use something called a Lambert. And Lambert is just good for this example. It's simple, it doesn't have too many attributes. And I'm going to go to color, right? And I'm going to change this color to red. Now nothing happens, and that's because I have not added this shader to this object. So I can middle mouse drag it onto the object. The other option is, if I undo that, I could select this and right click here and assign material to shader. Okay? What I'm going to do next is, I don't actually want this red. I want to add an actual texture file. I want to add this texture file to it. So I'm going to go to color, and you'll see on the right hand side there's this little checkerboard. I'm going to click that. That allows me to add different kinds of textures. In this case, I want to add a file. I go here, I select file, and you'll see Minion, and I say open, and nothing shows up. That's because I need to press the number 6. Right? So the number 6 allows me to show what we call hardware texturing. So if I have my materials here and I have my work area here, I can grab this and map this out if I want to. And you see here hardware shading, hardware texturing, sorry. And if I turn it off, none, it still stays there. But basically the hardware texturing is where we have this right here. Now, what do I need to do? I need to get this so this actually has these boxes aligned with my paper cutout. So I go here and you'll see that now this has shown up. If I turn this off, you'll see very faintly, you're going to see my lines here. I'm going to go to shell and select it, and you'll see this kind of this light beigeish color. Kind of hard to see, but I can. What you'll see is this face right here aligns with this face. So I'm trying to align it with these lines. Now this box is too big because the shape is not exactly the same. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to bring this like this. I'm just going to scale this out. Alright, maybe even scale it a little bit this way. Something like this. Alright, now I've got this pretty good, and what you'll see is the head is connected quite well to the top of the head is connected to the face, and this line right here aligns very nicely here. The seams are together very nicely, and that's because the seam here is all connected. But I have this face right here, which is all the way up here. I need to bring that to be down here. Now, just like I was saying with the analogy of the shirt, we're going to have to cut these UVs out. So I go here and I say cut UVs. So what I did first is I selected the face, because that's selecting all of these, and I say cut UV edges, and then I grab the shell of that and I can now move that separate. Now let's look at what's happening here. I'm going to try to align this with this, but what's happening? This line right here, this line, is flipped. It's upside down. It should be up there. So what I need to do is I need to flip this vertically. Alright, so looks pretty good. These two are aligned pretty well, but before I connect it, I want to sew it together. I'm going to just see how this looks. This one right here is not connected to this one. This line right here, this edge, is connected here. So I need to flip this one more time. This time horizontally, and you'll see when I press edge, this edge and this edge are highlighted. That means they're connected. So I can just move and sew the edges together. So now we have some seamless characters right here. If we notice though, my UVs, I go here to UVs, right here, are not all the way to the top. So my face is a little bit cut off. So I want to go in here and I want to just move them up. And this one, it goes all the way here. I need to move down a little bit so that it fits. So now I should have some nice seams. And I have one more right here, my shell. Let's bring this down. Bring it here. Now let's check my edge. These two are connected, so I move and sew edges, and that looks good. I just want to finish this a little bit here, bring this up, and so now I have added the UVs to this entire thing. So I have the leg here also, if I want to use the leg. So I'll create another cube, polygon cube, and that leg should be somewhere, something like this. And this body should go on that leg. Bring it down just a smidgen. Bring this over. Bring this down. So I got this leg right here. But again, my UVs need to be over there. Also, what's missing? I need to put this texture on. So I middle mouse drag it on. Alright, so let's grab the shell. Now this is the front of the foot. So I need to scale this quite a bit. And you see here, this face right here is equal to this face. Maybe scale it up a bit. Ooh, way too much. Something like this. Alright, so this face is fine. These faces need to be scaled out. So I'm just going to do this manually. I'm going to grab this, pull this over, grab this, pull this over. And I need to add in this back face again. So it's the same thing. Face, cut UV edges, shell, bring it here, and again, what's wrong? It's flipped. So flip vertically. Look at it. Ah, I need to do it. It's exactly the same as the last one. So flip. Horizontal edge, and I can connect these two edges together, and I say move and sew edges. So these guys are now all aligned. The bottom of my foot is up here, so I go to shell, and I don't actually have anything because you don't normally see the bottom, so I'm just gonna kind of put it right here so that just in case you did see it, it's gonna look like something like that. And this one you also are not going to see because it's basically hidden up in there. So I'm not even going to worry about it. Alright, and I like that foot. I say that's good. I'm just going to duplicate it, Command D, and now I have two legs. In the next tutorial, let's call this Minion UV test. In the next tutorial, we're going to do the arm, which is a little bit more complicated.